This video is created specifically for students in the BTS 110 class at Bellevue College. In it, I will be showing you how to fix a website that got truly messed up with files and folders in the wrong place and uppercase letters instead of lowercase. I'm basically working from Chapter 1 in the Shelley Cashman Dreamweaver CS4 book. I am using CS4. I'll show you the hierarchy, and now I'll show you how to correct it. So let's start with the hierarchy. Here's the file. You were specifically told to name your folder all lowercase. This one is not. Inside this folder, we see the images folder. It has an uppercase I. It should be lowercase. The parks folder, which should be a lowercase p. The index HTML page, which should be a lowercase I. Also, the images folder should be inside the parks folder. The index page should be inside the parks folder. Now, we are not going to change any of these file names here. We're going to define the site before we make any of those changes. The only file folder we are going to change is the last name, first initial folder, because this folder is not going to have an impact on your file structure and your links within your website unless your site is defined incorrectly. But we're going to fix those things anyway. So right now I'm just going to right click on this and I'm going to do rename, and I'm going to change this to lowercase. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to open up Dreamweaver. If you have an Alaska Park site already defined, your best bet at this point is to remove that site. So how do we remove the site? You know that you can go through Site, Manage Sites. Here's my Alaska Park site, and I'm simply going to remove it, and I'm going to redefine it. I can also go back up to Site, and I can do New Site. The other thing I can do is I can do that from this drop-down menu right here. I can go to Manage Sites. When my Manage Sites dialog box opens, I can choose New Site, and I'm going to start defining my site. Now I'm using Dreamweaver CS4 and I'm using Windows Vista. There is a bug in this, so this means I have to work with this bug. My site is going to be Alaska Parks. Now we want to change everything that is inside this last name first initial folder. So when I define my site, I am going to choose that particular folder as my site for this first correction process. So I'll click Find, and I'm going to go out to my computer, and I have the site on my Lexar drive, and I'm going to go in. Now what I want to see right here is I want to see this. I want to see last name ref. So I can trick it, or I can type that information in. I said last name ref. I meant last name F. So I'm going to do select, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do last name F / and I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to do done, and it's defined that site for me. Now I'm only doing this because I want to correct these names. These names cannot be corrected in Windows Explorer. If you correct them in Windows Explorer, you're going to lose all your links. That's why you want to define the site first and then do the corrections inside the Dreamweaver file panels. And you're going to see why here in just a moment. I'll start with images. I'm just going to click it and click it again. Not a double click, but a click, click. That's going to give me the option then to change that name. When I push enter, if that images folder is mapped, if it's linked to any other page, I'm going to get an update box. Here it is. Update files. Yes, I want to update those links. Now if I did this change from an uppercase I to a lowercase I in Windows Explorer, that link would be lost. I'm going to do the same thing with parks. Click, click. Change that to a P. It's not going to ask me if I want to update because Park should be my master folder. It's not linked. I do the same thing with the index page. And I'm going to take the images folder and I'm going to move it inside the Parks folder. It's going to ask me if I want to update the links. I'll say update by clicking update. And I'm going to take the index page and I'm going to move it inside the Parks folder. Not inside the images folder, just inside the Parks folder. Now it's asking me if I want to update the links. And it's seeing that background image. So my background image is probably going to be okay. I'll click update. Now what I want to do is I want to go back and redefine my site. I'm going to click drop down arrow, manage sites, edit. Now I want this to have Parks at the end of it. And my images folder, I'm going to have to type that in, images / or backslash. And that is because of the naming bug that appears in Windows Vista and Service Pack 2 and Windows 7. If you're working in Windows XP or if you're working in Dreamweaver CS5, this bug doesn't exist. But because we're working in CS4, we have to manually type in the backslash Parks backslash images backslash images backslash. I'm going to say OK. It's going to ask me if I want to recreate the cache. Yes, I want to. I'm going to say I'm done. Now I should see that my site is in my Parks folder. I no longer see the Parks folder. Let's open up the index page and see how it looks. It's in code view. Let's switch over to design view. Hey, my background image is there. Just to double check it, let's go to modify page properties, and in the appearance HTML, let's look at the path. And it is seeing the path in the images folder. So from the location of this page, this is a relative path, from the location of this page, look inside the images folder and find the Parks _BKG JPEG. I should not see F : / or any of that. I should just see images / Parks, because this is a relative link. Relative to the position of the index page, I'm going to find this background in this location. So I'll click apply, and everything should be fine now. And that is the way that you need to fix your hierarchy and your page names if you screw those things up. If your upper level folder, the one that you name with your first initial or your last name first initial, is messed up, you can fix that in Windows Explorer because it is not a part of the site. The site is defined within the Parks folder. Anything that you do to the Parks folder and anything inside of it or should be inside of it, this needs to be done within the Dreamweaver Files panel. That's the end of this segment.